Yo, 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 what is up everyone? It's Mini TV here coming at you again with another video. Today, got a great hero for you, and it's really been kind of the star carry of this patch, really, and it is Sven. The hero is so strong at the moment, and it's been picked in loads in competitive, and been picked a lot in pubs as well. And not only that, but it has a really strong win rate. Numbers have been greatly buffed, but particularly it's the cleave that makes this hero really strong. So last patch, it was all about stacks. This patch is all about stacks as well, but the heroes that were really good at clearing stacks, like Luna, Medusa, and Terrorblade Gyrocopter, all have got kind of toned down. But the one hero that actually got toned up, that's been good at clearing stacks, is Sven, as well as Clinks, to be fair. But Sven, really easy hero to play once you get the kind of the basics down, the fundamentals. I think you'll be able to do a lot of winning with this hero as well. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into the video. Hey guys, so this is the video or the game that I wanted to show you. So just really talking about Sven in terms of drafting phase, I think it's really important to you just if you play any carry here and not necessarily Sven, but always picking it in the second or third phase. You know, BSJ and a few other high YouTubers, high MMR streamers were talking a lot about how like first picking carry is just really game losing, and Sven really is no there's no different either really, because the hero can get countered, does have counters, can get kited easily. So waiting into the second or third phase is ideal, and in this draft, in this game, I kind of got a bit lucky as well, because I had an IO partner, which is historically a great partner to play with Sven, just because you're able to keep him topped up with regen, and just for the mobility from the relocate as well. It's a really lovely partner in lane as well as in the game as well, plus the attack speed is always useful on a high damage hero like Sven. So just right off the bat, we kind of go off and just try and protect our kind of pool camp area, making sure there's no heroes trying to put wards down. In this case, we see Phoenix up there. I didn't actually click him, which is probably a mistake really, because we were wondering if he had warded or not, but it looked like he didn't, because he immediately returned over. In this case, obviously LC was with him as well, but it's always important to try and, if you do have a hero that has a stun or that can fight early, which in this case Sven can, is to really just try and eke out as much as an advantage even before the lane starts. So if Phoenix was up here by himself and he did, as we saw, spec fire spirits, that gives us a lot of intel on the lane and can really eat into his regen very early on. And because a good level 1 hero, I go in try and contest the runes here as well, and we end up getting the rune, and this helps and is even more relevant because I have an IO as well. So all the mana and health I can get rid of, I know that IO can just resupply me later on. So it's a good use of mana and health as well. Just kind of putting my body on the line, because it forces regen early on as quick as possible. So just talking about the items as well, really it's all about stats as much as possible, particularly in this patch, and it was quite a trend in last patch as well, but it's all about trying to maximize the big items as soon as possible as well. So you're kind of foregoing these early stat items like bracers, even magic wand, unless it's a good scenario. Obviously in this case, I'm looking for any opportunities, in this case a double stun, just a really good value use of my spell there. Lots of damage onto both of them, and considering that Phoenix doesn't have dive because he's only level 1, in the future there could be possibilities for a kill as well. So right back now, just focusing on getting the CS as much as possible. The lane is pushed in as well, so it's not really the best go when there's that much creeps kind of running into us, because they have double range creeps, for example, as well. So I'm just trying to like aggro pull, get as much CS as well. I end up buying a magic stick early on because I know this lane is going to be quite harass heavy, and even though I do have an IO, just any way I can kind of keep myself topped up is ideal. Put simply as well. Obviously, the LC and the Phoenix go try and mess with the IO, but there's nothing I can do because I have creeps coming into me as quick as possible. In scenarios like this as well, like where you can play under the tower protection, it's always really nice. 3+ armor as well as an extra HP regen is very, very nice, even though I do miss that range creep there. I mean, particularly when you play a hero or a carry hero that has ways to secure range creeps, it's really ideal that you can use those spells for that, particularly if you can harass the enemy while doing it as well, which in this case, I can, because I can stun as the LC while he goes through it as well. So obviously right now it's what you're starting to see now, because I have cleave, even though you'll see it more so at level 3, is where I'm just trying to push the lane in as much as possible, because even though I'm
clearing the wave, I'm doing a lot of damage to the LC as well because of my cleave. And at level 3, when I get 2 points in cleave, you'll see it even more so. There was a couple of lags, so there's some really bad last hit-ins, to be fair. But you know, you see in old chat that is a bit awkward. But yeah, it should be better overall. That's just kind of my main focus. You see, like I'm still CSing while I'm kind of harassing, which is ideal. Got a little bit unlucky there. I don't want to be trading too much with the LC because he's sort of put up his passive, so he's happy to trade with me. Even though I do have an IO, you're seeing a lot of damage kind of put with the Phoenix. Obviously, in this case, Phoenix, we saw an opportunity. He already used his dive, and we looked to go for an opportunity for a kill here, or at least kind of force out some kind of spells. Obviously, LC had the cleanse there, and we don't end up getting the kill, but it's good pressure and a good harassment nonetheless. Another early thing to mention as well, so I mentioned just kind of going for these big items. Obviously, in this case, treads is kind of the best big item you can go for because it's so necessary, but it does also help you in the lane a lot as well. And as you see here, I'm ferrying out the belt of strength more so than the boots. I don't really necessarily need the boots. I'm not really in danger of getting run down, and I more want just as many stats as I can to really help my value when I'm trading with heroes like LC and Phoenix, obviously. And as you can see here, they're both kind of pushing the edges to and pushing themselves to the limit. But we know Phoenix doesn't have dive, so one little stun and a hit from both of us gets us both low. But I have Magic Stick and I have an Eye with me as well. That it's a good trade overall. And again, obviously, I got the pull off here, and securing the kill on the big creep is pretty huge. LC kind of gets a little bit too aggressive. I have stun coming up, and with Phoenix not around, end up able to get the last hit on him as well. So really nice boost to the lane here. And things like that also help where I'm actually putting 2 points in stun. Normally, you'll see sort of 1 point in stun and the max wall cry for this kind of maximization of the farm, which is definitely good and is definitely important. Again, I'm just trying to force out the dive from Phoenix, because then once that dive is gone, then there's kill threat. But obviously with LC coming back alive, perhaps I was a little bit too aggressive because I end up missing like 2 or 3 creeps there, even though we do force out the dive from Phoenix. So right now the lane is sort of too far up. And because Io is a bit of a different sort of style of support, he wants to play with me at all times just because the tether, he's not able to pull as effectively as perhaps other supports can. But I've got 2 points in cleave, and with Io with me, like I'm happy to sort of farm the neutral cramps. Obviously, kind of fail the pull there, and with LC kind of keeping the lane back, there's nothing else I can really do but to farm at the pull camp. And obviously, if Phoenix is going to come up here, we're more than happy to kind of force out his dive and yeah, play aggressive on him, and we end up killing him. So well too aggressive from the Phoenix, and he gets punished there because of it. And now with Phoenix dead, even though I'm kind of low on resources, I'm more than happy to walk up to the lane to farm it. I mean, and anyway, like when you play like these kind of very farm-oriented heroes, like Clinks, like Sven, it's just as much your main focus and your main priority is how much can I get out of the lane before I then go to jungle or go elsewhere. Because if you can get like level 7 with treads or with your upgraded boots, then you're more than happy to jungle as soon as possible after that as well. Again, with the war that Io's up here, more than happy to try and force out some kind of spell or the dive from Phoenix, because then it offers us the ability to kill him later on. But I don't really want to trade with Legion Commander. Obviously, he has about to have phase boots, and I'm not too happy to sort of trade with him, particularly when Phoenix is there with Fire Spirits. Even though I do have the IO, it's just not a great trade for me. So again, I'm just kind of trying to focus on pushing out the wave as much as possible, and then I'm able to then go to jungle when and if need be. But with Phoenix sort of Fire Spirits, like it's just the focus on pushing the wave out as much as possible. Obviously the cleave is quite nice as well, because I'm able to sort of do damage again onto the LC and elsewhere, but it's just kind of a real focus on pushing the lane in, because there's getting to the point now where I don't really want to be up here as well. Like there could be rotations from the Tinker, there could be rotations from other heroes, and when that happens, we're not all that happy to be up here. But again, Phoenix kind of gets a little bit out of control, and this double point in stun is actually really paying off as well. And I think if you're looking to kind of contest the lane, which I am, normally like as I said before,
you'll see obviously max cleave and then into max Warcry after 1 point and stun, just for maximise the farming, because the movement speed and with a low mana cost on Warcry, the extra movement speed between camp and camp can be useful. But in a game like this where I have an IO partner and I'm always going to have mana to use my stun, maxing it I think is ideal, because I'm looking to be a bit more aggressive, particularly in the later stages as well, when IO has relocate. I can contribute a lot more if I have max points in stun than in Warcry. But if you're not playing with an IO, then perhaps maxing Warcry and just focusing on your farm and is normally the most ideal, because really, as Sven, you're such a flash farmer that you want to be able to kind of get your Blink, your Echo Saber, maybe your BKB, and by that time you're going to be level 14, you're going to have your max stun out anyway, so there's no point to get it early on unless you want to contest the lane, which I'm kind of doing at the moment. But again, a lot of pressure that LC can kind of put out in scenarios like that. So as I've said, I'm really low on resources, can't really come back to the lane. Again, I'm just going to go into the jungle when and if need be. This time, obviously, Puck starts calling out for a gank, and again, we get quite fortunate because these both Legion and Phoenix play very aggressive and get punished for it. And again, it's just a nice ward onto the high ground by IO there, and we end up getting another kill when we probably didn't deserve it overall. So now, obviously, again, it's like, okay, I think we've got level 6. Ideally, you want really like maybe your position 4 to be stacking the Ancients, because then when you do eventually go and clear it, it's going to be nice. Right now, I don't have any stacks, but if you want to call it in chat, it can make a big difference for you. Right about now, I'm going to be pushing the lane because I know that both Mars and Silencer are kind of pushing deep in bot, and as a result, I know I can play up. And obviously, with that LC showing bottom, it allows me to push in top a lot for. Obviously, see the LC bottom, and we have the relocate as well. So I'm like calling for IO to relocate us in if need be. But with LCTP and bot, I know that top is kind of completely free, so we can kind of put a lot more pressure onto this Phoenix going top as well. And as we do that, so we just kind of push out again, force the dive, and kind of gives us more. But we end up going for the relocate bot because Puck's there, and unfortunately we don't get all that much. Although we see an opportunity onto this gyro, and with that, it was enough to secure the kill onto gyro. But IO obviously left me there, so I could kind of secure it. And with my stun kind of coming back up and using God Strength. Yeah, I know it's a small thing, but these 2 points in stun really do make a difference. Just that extra bit of damage and that 0.25 seconds of stun is is a lot more useful than this 1 point in Warcry would be. And as a result, we end up getting a lot of kills just because I'm more than willing to get aggressive. Sven is a great farmer, don't get me wrong, but when you get to have quite a good lane, which I have, and when you have a stun, you're always going to be useful to any of your team. And so getting aggressive, using God Strength, and then going back to farming is ideal. And when you have a lot of stacks like this as well, it's just going to really pluck you up. So right now, obviously, the tower is low, and we're looking to kind of try and put pressure on it. But with 2 TPs and everything going on, more than happy to just get out of there. So I ended up deciding to TP bot because there was like 2 or 3 TPs coming in from bot. So I just realized that I'm going to use the opportunity to try and push out this wave and then go into jungle, and from there, maybe again try and force out this Phoenix dive if I can, which I do. But right now I should be thinking, like, okay, I'm half HP, I need to push out this wave as quick as possible, and then just kind of get out, because anything could happen when I'm like this low on HP. So really, ideally, I should really leave this catapult, because a quick thing to mention is, catapults take a long time to kill, and they're really all not too important unless you're trying to just defend the tower. And as a result, me staying for this 1 extra wave ends up getting me killed. I try and juke out the Phoenix, but it is really to no avail. And with a 1 TP like that from the Phoenix, and without me having a TP as well, it was just a bad death, and I just took too long, really. I mean, I always preach about it in my videos, particularly when you're playing carry, about how don't stay in your safe lane, particularly if you have things to farm, which in this case I do. I have the jungle, I have the Ancients, and even though there was an opportunity to be top when there was 2 or 3 TPs bot, I stayed too long.
put simply. My focus should have been push out the wave and then go back to the jungle where it's safe, because I can then keep carrying on my farm. But luckily, IO has been looking to stack the Ancients, and there's with an over a kind of aggressive Legion, again playing in his own safe lane, he ends up getting punished for it. And with the stacks to fall back on as well, it's just a really nice kind of rotation and move that we end up doing. Taking the tower first, because I can always fall back onto the Ancients. And again, just kind of focus on pushing the waves in and then farming the jungle. Quite a small rotation, but something that's quite important to note. So just talking about obviously the build right about here. So obviously level 10 going straight for the attack speed. I think there's actually a little bit of a bug as well, where even though it says 15 attack speed, it's actually coded to be plus 20 attack speed, which is a small thing, but definitely something that you want to be prioritizing, because all you're going to be really doing for the most part is farming stacks as soon as possible. So obviously building into the treads, going straight into the Echo Saber. I mean, this is something that's been quite a lot of debate recently about whether to go Mask of Madness or not. A lot of higher tier Svens are kind of looking to actually forego the Mask of Madness for a few reasons. Obviously, Mask of Madness is great because it gives you sustainability and able to clear stacks quite effectively, particularly the Ancients with the attack speed. But it really does kind of delay your items. That there's really like this kind of holy trinity of items that you really want to have on a Sven, like the Echo Saber, the Blink, and the BKB. In this case, I actually sort of completely change it up. I go for the Chrysalis because I don't really need the Blink straight away, because I have a Puck, I even have a Mars as well. And I don't want to go for the BKB this early, so I'm just looking to prioritize my farm. So the Chrysalis does wonders, and I'm actually going to leave it as just the Chrysalis, go for the Blink, and then go back for the BKB. But if you go for this Mask of Madness, you always want the Echo Saber, because that double hit on the cleave is just really, really beneficial. So if you go Mask of Madness, Echo Saber, then Blink and BKB, you get the BKB too late, because you're going to be having these big 5-on-5 team fights around about the 15-minute mark, perhaps even earlier. And really, when that happens, you want to have the BKB available to you really at this ideal moment. But because I've gone the IO, I kind of forego the Mask of Madness, because I don't need it for the sustain. So therefore, I can kind of go these bigger early items, like the Chrysalis, like the Blink, and I have it at a lot more timely moment. Ideally, if you can kind of get away with skipping the Mask of Madness, I'd always recommend it. So perhaps you might get the Morbid Mask from the neutral item, whatever it's called, the Possessed Mask, which is really quite nice, and then you might be able to sort of sustain with it. Obviously, I'm just sort of farming Ancients here, so I'm looking at any potential fights, what spells have been used, do I need to TP, and etc, etc, etc. Because when you're hitting creeps in the jungle, you don't really need to be looking at the jungle creeps. You can be looking elsewhere and getting more information. Obviously, in this case, it was a great kind of rotation from my allies there that are able to really handle the team fight without me, while I kind of continue on farming. I decided to go for the Blink because it just offers me more kill potential and kill threat. There's been definitely times where I've been like, I really wish I went for the BKB before the Blink. It's really kind of just almost a stylistic choice, really. I think the Blink offers you, kill threat and a more aggressive potential, but it also relies a lot more coordination with your team as well, because without having a BKB on Sven, you're so easily kited and can really kind of get punished a lot for it. In this case, though, it kind of gives us kill threat. And obviously, I'm looking to try and stay out of vision, looking for the Blink where possible. End up using the God Strength, and we end up kind of securing the kill on Jaro, and end up going for the Tinker as well. And in this case, the Blink is fine because a lot of my team are looking to get aggressive, looking to play together, and when that happens, the Blink can offer great initiation and catch potential. But if you're just kind of focused on farming, the BKB is actually a great defensive tool, because with BKB you're not really going to be dying to any ganks, because you can always use it. In some ways, I'm almost someone lean to go for the BKB, because it's more the passive and defensive choice. Again, just good use of vision, trying to defend towers they really shouldn't be, and with the Blink like this as well, you can punish a lot of greedy plays going forward. So again, just kind of playing with an IO makes it a lot easier to play with Sven, because you can kind of play wherever you need to and wherever you want to, because any fight, you're always going to be there and available to it.
And obviously, as I said, I did end up maxing the Stormhammer as well. So just kind of building towards the BKB now as well. And getting Van Brace as well. Some really good items for me, personally. So right now, obviously, we're kind of invading their enemy jungle, just trying to limit as much farm as them as possible. Obviously, they have a Naga, they have a Tinker as well, and also an LC. So all heroes that do want to farm. So any creeps that you're able to take away from the enemy is really huge, because they're going to want to try and invade. They're going to want to farm, and when they do want to do this, they get punished by walking under vision. And as a result, we see him getting picked off there. And obviously, I use God Strength, so I just want to kind of utilize my God Strength. And the most important thing I can tell you guys is, if you ever have an advantage, do not go for tier 2s, go for Roche instead. Tier 2s, like, so many times I see carries, like, they'll get a pick off and they're like, oh, let's do something, let's go and hit the tier 2 mid. And tier 2 mid offers nothing, really. It's so little, because just how hard they are to take now, obviously, with fortification and the buff to towers. Roche is just so much more valuable. So if you get an advantage, perhaps like a kill, and you have God Strength available or something along the lines, take Roche instead, guys. And even if they know that we're doing it, which they scan us, they see us doing it, and by the time they try and contest it, it's already too late. And that Aegis makes a big deal going forward, and we end up still punishing the hero trying to stop us from doing Roche. So again, just a really strong performance going forward, and able to just really kind of contest the map always. So I'm obviously closing into a BKB, again just kind of conscious a little bit from the creep waves. End up catching the Naga here, but you'll see, obviously I end up dying because they kind of commit everything on us, but with the Aegis, I was kind of take a fight. But you'll see like how I'm taking a lot of damage from both the Phoenix and the Tinker, and that's because I don't have the BKB yet. And this is kind of what I was mentioning a little bit before. So even though I had an Aegis, I'm playing very scared because I don't have a BKB. I'm taking so much just kind of residual damage just from all the magic damage from Tinker, and even though we're very far ahead, we end up losing or almost losing this fight because just of me not having a BKB. If I have a BKB there, I can man up on the Tinker, I can BKB and hit the egg, and the team fight's completely different. And that's really just how important it is to have a BKB. And even though I was very close to it, perhaps I played a bit too aggressive and wasn't really playing on the item timings that I could have been having if I had the BKB. So a little bit of a wasted Aegis, but luckily it wasn't too punished because of the advantage we had from Aegis going forward. But again, just kind of wanting to kind of constrict the map as possible. Ideally, we had warded, had good ward vision to kind of control Roche, but now Roche is gone. Really want to be playing kind of the bottom half of the map. It's a lot easier to infiltrate, and it's a lot more kind of resources as well for them if we can kind of keep bot pushed in and taking towers. But if enemies are playing on our vision, we should be more than happy willing to kind of really punish them for that, because we're so far ahead. As we do. So obviously God Strength's down. Even though I have BKB, like ideally you want to be fighting with God Strength because it kind of completely changes the hero. But as you see here, again, just kind of cutting the wave. Even though top has been pushed in and we lose the tower, it's a lot better for me to cut this wave than it is to run back, because of the pressure we would lose if I start showing and running top. So again, playing under our vision, playing on the higher ground, and yeah, just a lot stronger altogether. I'm feeling like really strong, but we don't really want to commit too much, and instead just taking fights when we can. This was a really good TP from the Legion Commander there, and I think I kind of completely got caught off guard there. So, and that extra, I think he has the dual talent, so 200 cast range kind of got me from vision, and end up me dying even though I had BKB, and it really kind of set us back a little bit there, just because of perhaps I was playing a bit too aggressive. Again, if you're taking the tier 2, I kind of realised that was kind of a bit overly aggressive on my part. And yeah, don't be afraid just to own up to your mistakes, guys. It just puts in a lot better of a mood for your teammates. We're really far ahead. Like, you just take responsibility for your actions, and ends up being just a lot better environment than it would be to be like blaming your teammates, because really you know, Dota is a team game, and it is really all about momentum, and that can be applied. Same goes for you know, just morale as well. So obviously right here, like they're playing perhaps a bit too aggressive, because considering that I'm coming back alive, and they've kind of used a lot already on us. This time I got the BKB off before the duel, and I had a lot better HP available. We end up taking the LC, and with BKB as well, able to take the Phoenix X down as well. But with my BKB down, decide not to sort of blink up into the high ground, considering that Mars is dead as well. So kind of decent team fight. We end up killing the Naga as well, who has actually been farming quite decently considering how far we are ahead actually. So when looking towards my itemization here as well, I'm just looking to, when I do jump with my God Strength and BKB, I'm looking to just try and just delete that hero. So looking to maximize all of the most amount of damage. So Daedalus in this case. I'm obviously building towards like an MKB eventually as well, because you know my BKB is running low now. It's only 8 seconds. It's going to eventually go to 6 seconds. And when that happens, I need a way to hit because of Tinker's laser as well, which obviously is 100% miss chance. So just looking to focus on that. But whenever we have, you know, all our spells up, we have all of our ultimates, I have my BKB. Ideally, this is the time where we would smoke and fight. So right now I'm kind of drawing on the map. We need to push in lanes and then we can smoke, because you know lanes just provide a lot more vision and gives us the map control what we need as well. Ideally, like kind of making moves without smoke is just awkward, but bot lane, we have some decent vision in it, and also it's just a lot easier to contest bot than it is sort of mid or elsewhere on the map as well. So it's a lot easier to just kind of invade bot than it is anywhere else, just because of the positioning on the map altogether. So end up we take bot, and then I TP top just because we need to relieve pressure on that map, and obviously Io should be playing with me as well, so whenever that does happen he can relocate me in if there is a fight anywhere else on the map as well. And with that obviously I end up having my Daedalus. I end up deciding to go for Satanic as well, just in case that if I end up getting dueled, for example, I need some kind of life steal just to kind of keep me for it. And ideally, with Puck as well, he should be playing to really interrupt and deal with the Tinker, so he shouldn't be able to get kind of a lot of lasers onto me. I'm pinging the high ground here just because of, you know, high ground, particularly when you're playing against heroes like Tinker, can really cause a lot of issues. And that's where I'm sort of pinging for the relocate bot, because that's where we should be. Kind of slow on the relocate, to be fair. I think he's like picking up talents. Puck ended up coiling, and a bit of a late delay on the relocate. I jump onto the LC because the kill on Gyro is already secured. And we go forward and end up pushing forward. So a little bit later in the game now, we're kind of still struggling to push high ground because we're playing against a Tinker. As you can see, he's like being really annoying, and we end up taking Aegis after that fight. And with like a fighting bot, we end up catching both the Phoenix and the Gyro, and now we're just looking to go high ground as much as we can. And with 3 heroes dead, it's a lot easier to do. But Tinker being Tinker is a lot difficult until you kill him. But so that was just kind of the main base of the game, guys. Obviously, we're up quite a lot, and so there's not too much educational value to have it. But I hope for the information I did give was useful, and I hope you enjoyed it. And there'll be more videos to come as well. So if you did like, guys, please give it a like, subscribe. I'm trying to get a bit more consistent with my videos, and I hope you enjoy them. Till next time, guys, keep grinding and grinding. Peace.